Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Ruth Marquise. Welcome to Ruth and Real Estate, Market Update. Welcome to our real estate show. Today's topic is going to be the home building process. Hey, Monica. Hey, Virgos. So stay tuned, guys. It's going to be a great show. If you have ever thought about building your own home, okay, I'm going to walk you through this process. So take the time now to invite a friend, invite someone. Hello, how are you? Monica says hi. Virgo says hi. How are you today? So I just have to switch one more thing and we can get started. I am excited. How is your day going today? So for the home building process. Somebody said, good, nice jingle. Thank you. I wrote it myself. Okay. All right, the home building process. Have you ever thought to yourself, I wonder what it would cost me, to build my own home? What's that process like? How long does it take? Like, what is involved? Can I really do this? Yeah, so here we go. So let me before we get started, let me explain the different things. And as a real estate agent, a lot of agents, they don't. I was watching a post today, and they said, I just finished real estate school. I just learned how to stay out of jail. That's all they know. I just know how to stay out of jail, right? So not necessarily every agent knows this information, because you have to really continually educate yourself when you're in your profession. If you're on here, say hi. If you're watching this on replay, #replay. So when I was in broker school, we had to sit and watch a home get built. And it was very tedious. It was very long and it was very informational. And the thing looked like it was from the 1980s, but I so appreciate it. And yeah, it's a lot that goes into building a home. And the other part, I actually was partnered up with a woman who was able to sell land. They basically subdivide the land. So what happens is you can't just buy land and start building on it. When you buy the land, you have to get tests done. You have to get all these environmental tests done. You have to make sure, you have the survey of the land. All of these things go into it. So it's a whole other business by itself. So she was able to subdivide the land and sell it off for it was our project. And so it's kind of like going to college where it's like, oh, I made a contact. I made, so we were great. We pulled it off. We had that horrible partner. I always got a story, y'all. We had that horrible partner. I don't know what happened to him. He just disappeared. We did all the work. He was like, yeah, what about this? What about that? And it's like, slow down, calm down. Let's just do what needs to be done. So she had already had everything and we presented. It was great. But she said, I put my kids through college with the money. I was like, yes. So that's how I learned how there are developers, okay? So there are people that sell land and they subdivide the land and they said this land is, reserved and this land is sold for this and you can do this with that land, and that you have to consider the environment, the topography, all of these different things, and then they pass it off to the builder. They give the plans and say, this is what the land can do. They're over here paying experts and saying, this is what the land can do. They hand the plans over to the builder and the builder has to build according to these specs. When let's say you wanted to you want to change your home, your custom home from hardwood floors to marble floors. So if the plans say that, oh no, we didn't have that, like the plans were according to hardwood floors, now they have to make the adjustment so that it can hold and it has all the support that it needs in order to accommodate your marble floors. So you have the developer, you have the builder who's going to build it according to the specs given to them. You have the architect who's helping draw up the plans. So you have to pay all of these people when you are, building your home. Now, you might get it in a different phase. You might not get it when it's like just land, right? You might get it where, okay, if you look around, you see them building, they're already building homes, they're building spec homes, meaning they have no buyer in mind when they're making this home. So it'll come already like, oh, I think this is what the buyer wants. So mind you, it's not the realtor, right? So if the realtor would have been like, yeah, my buyer's like this, they like that in this area, the builder would have had a better product. But, that's why you get a realtor involved. Now, it's important to know that you need to have a minimum of 20%, regardless of the financing that you're getting. You can get it financed, but you need 20%. So if that home is $500K, you need to have a minimum of $100,000. You need padding and cushion just in case. This is, let's say you upgrade your taste or you want these kind of lights and you're building a home. So you're like, oh my gosh, I saw this on HGTV and you want to add all these extra things it's going to cost. So you can make all the choices that you want in certain conditions, but it's going to cost you money. Okay. So it's a lot of money to have, but that's when you're ready to build. So when people would just be like, oh, off the gate, like they didn't buy a house yet, they didn't, it's their first home and they don't have much money and they're getting a grant. And like, it's not time to buy a new construction home. Okay. It's after some time where maybe you bought a home already and you have, $100,000 equity in that home or $200,000 equity in that home. And then you're like, you know what? Now's the time I want to start I want to build my own home. Okay. So it's not something, if you have the cash, that's fine. If you have the equity, you can make that happen as well. All right. The last important thing before we get started is you have to make decisions in a timely manner, because every time you don't make a decision or you can't decide on the floors, or you can't decide on the cabinets, it's a lot of decisions to make. You're making every single thing. When you walk in the house, it's already done. Okay, look, the window's here. This kind of window, the cabinets, that color, that wall color, that floor color, all of that's already done. You just walk in and say yay or nay when the home is already built. But when it's not built, all of that is you. And do you know every window? Do you know what you want? Do you know how you want it to go? And if you're not a person that understands that world, then it's going to take you longer to really make that final decision. But you have to remember, tick tock, the clock is ticking, right? And it's costing somebody money every single day that the work is not moving forward. Another thing, WHI, hey, how are you? WMIH Radio, Billy says teach on point target. Thank you. So you have to make sure that those decisions are made in a timely manner. So, but when certain homes already almost there, so not too many decisions, but then you can't really, you're going to go by what the builder has in mind. They'll say, oh, we have this in this color or that color. You can get this cabinet or that cabinet. Really, it's done in the most efficient way possible. But you, buyer, they don't want efficiency. They want beautiful, right? So beautiful and efficiency sometimes bump heads. And so you have to remember that when they order this cabinet or they order the windows, like you just can't go to Home Depot and get these things. You have to, they're going to have to order them custom. So it could take 18 weeks to get that order in. And if there's any problem in the supply chain. So for those of you who wondered, hey, what happened in the pandemic, Ruth? What happened to all those homes that were, like why did lumber increase? Well, when everybody was told to stay home, and then people were not assembling windows anymore. Things were not ready. It was taking much longer to get where you needed. And so it made the price go up. Right. And so now the price of lumber has come down, but they were used to charging those prices. So do you think that the owners want to start, let me go back down on my pricing? Now they're going to try to keep those prices up. So that's why it's up. Okay. So now, Ruth, I'm ready. I got my mindset. I want to buy. I want to build my own home. Okay. Let me dream with you for a second. Okay. So let's talk about the steps on basically building your home. Okay. The home building process. Okay. Step number 1, you want to find and purchase the lot. Okay. Now, you can't just find any old lot and just build. No, you got to understand zoning. Okay. There's 7 different types of zoning that we're going to go through right now. Residential, they're designated for single family homes. Okay. When I say single family, that just means one family per home. It could be a row home, it could be a townhouse, but it means one family per home. Okay. Um, Commercial, number 2 is commercial. That's for like restaurants and retail stores. They're basically businesses. Okay. That's the commercial zoning. So you're not going to be building a home where businesses are. So number 3 is industrial. That's designated for factories. Okay. Have you ever been somewhere like um, some long strip near airport and you just see all these garages? You see all these, that's like the manufacturing area. You see all these trucks pulling in. So that's the industrial area. Rural is for designated for farming. Okay. So a historical is when they want to preserve the building. Environmental, that is when they try to protect natural habitats. Remember, I was telling you about the lady who was selling land. It was a conservation, and they had to protect this animal or something like that. So part of it was saved, and part of it was developed on. So yeah, that happened. The last one is aesthetic. So the structures may adhere to, they have to look a certain kind of way. Okay. You just can't build whatever you want. It has to be built a certain kind of way, certain type of look. Okay. So step 2, now that you find out where you want to build it, the land, now research this type of house that you want. Okay. A spec home, there's 3 types: a spec home, tract home, or a custom home. A spec home meaning that there's already single family homes being built, and you get a cookie cutter home. Okay, that means that this is how they build them homes, and you could probably get it in light white and dark white, right? Like they don't have that many options for you, but it's a cookie cutter home, and you come in and that's just the way it is. These are how the homes are. You can get a tract home where the developer, they buy a huge plot of land and then they divide it into individual lots. So they're selling each lot. Now, the good part of that is that the developer did what needs to be done, because sometimes you just get land, right? But do you think about the public water or the private water or the private sewer, or how is it all going to work? How is it going to have electric, gas, water? How the utilities will come into place? Did you think about when there's a whole area like the traffic light that needs to be bought, like the stop signs, like all of these different things have to happen when you're when you're basically building. So it depends on how large the lot is. So yeah, so the tract home, that's when you see the drawing and you just see like the little slices, the little rectangles, and they selling off a rectangle, and they be like, we just sold that for $200,000, and then you build on it yourself. So they kind of did some of the work for you, and then you could build on it yourself, and they'll tell you, here's the plans. We started this for you. Now you can finish it. You're just buying the part that you don't know. 3 is a custom home. A custom home is where you have your own plot of land and you hire a builder to build it exactly the way you want. As you can imagine, it's the most expensive way to go, because you're getting everything the way you want it. However, it's going to cost you, right? So you have to look at the floor plans next, right? How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms? This is an idea of how many things that you're going to need. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms? Do you want an open floor plan, or you don't? What is the layout of the home? All of these decisions have to be made. Then you can research and hire your building team. Okay. The first person you want to hire is your general contractor. Okay. They're going to oversee construction. They're going to get estimates. They're going to vet and hire subcontractors. They're going to assign the task to the subcontractors. I mean, this is how they get things done. People are not just like, let me just think. No, they don't know how you want it. So you got to be able to tell them this is what's going to happen. And you got to be able to give out the work to the subcontractor. And somebody has to be there so things can get done. And then also make sure the general contractor, make sure the team meets deadlines. Okay. So now a custom home builder, what's the difference between a custom home builder and a general contractor? Well, they seem like they do the same thing, but the custom home builder, they draw up the blueprints, right? You give the blueprint to the general contractor. And the custom home builder, this is what they do. They are specialized in building custom homes, and general contractors are not. Step number 4, you got to get the required permits from the township. The general contractor is going to pull the building permit. Now, building permits can go from $1,200 to $2,000. All right. Now, the next permits that you're going to need are the electrical permit, plumbing permits, HVAC permits. That's going to go to the respective expert. They're going to pull those licenses, and they're all around from $10 to $500, $50 to $500, $250 to $400. So as you can see, right then and there, you already spent $3,500 pulling permits. Y'all counting? And if you need a grading permit, you won't need to pay for that as well. All right, if you're on a budget, you're going to pull those permits yourself, but you run the risk of the liability of anything that happens. Okay, so make sure you do not start construction before you get your permits, or they will shut you down. Not only that, they may tell you to take it down. Very important to get your permits. Step number 5, you're going to clear the property, trees, debris. You're going to remove stump systems and root systems, and you're going to pay professionals to do it. Okay. And why? Can you imagine you do it yourself and then it grows again? So you want the experts to come in and prevent regrowth. Step number 6, you're going to level the site. Once the land is cleared, the clearing team will fill in any holes and level out the ground, right? And then the team will put up wooden stakes to mark out where the foundation should be poured. Okay, so you've seen them putting out those wooden stakes, the little flags. Now, if the land dips or hills, we were just driving by, like, yo, why are these? My kids were like, why are these homes a little flatter and these other homes? I was like, oh no, because your home is on a hill, and these homes are like on a flat, plain. So basically, homes can be built on, hills or flat plains, and it just all depends on the neighborhood. You ever been walking and you're like, oh, this block on a bike, people like, oh, this block, I'm kind of rough going up this block, and then the other ones go down. We don't really realize it, but that's really we're just building homes on like rocky terrain, I guess. All right, hey, what's up, Reno? Hey, Henry. We're talking about the home building process today. Welcome to the Ruth and Real Estate Market Update. All right. So, by the way, Tuesdays is the real estate show. Wednesdays is the money show, Ruth in the Bag. And Thursdays is Ruth and Relationships. Okay. So thank you guys. All right. The next step, after you cleared out the property, you want to level the site. If you ever thought about, okay, what does it take to build a house? Just let me understand this process, right? And it's doable. Like I said, you go in your first home and you let the equity build, and then after that, you have a good lump sum of money, whether you sold your home or whether you refied it. You have a good lump sum of money, and now you can go build your home. It's not something that's impossible. It's just that if you don't get that first house, it's gonna be cash heavy. But like I said, if you use the equity in your home, you'll be able to make moves. So I'm taking y'all to step 2, but first you got to do step 1. Well, so a lot of you guys own your own home already. So, all right. So after you level the site, right? So basically, you have to make sure that the land is the hills or the dips are going to be graded to make sure you have a flat surface to accommodate the house and the driveway. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that you try to, like you're looking down and you're like, how am I going to get down? You get to the driveway. Oh gosh, you're crazy. Hey, what's up? He says, are there any grants available to purchase houses? Yes, there are grants available right now. Philly, $10,000. The last show, if you go back to the last show, I think Maryland was $5,000, Delaware is $5,000, and you can stack grants. okay? But mind you, they have stipulations. They'll be like, oh, you can't leave for 15 years. So when you leave, then you got to pay back. So when you sell it, then you got to pay it back, and you can't rent it out. They got you there. All right. So it's a reason why they give the money. It's not free. Find out the catch, guys. All right. Step 7, prepare the land for a foundation or a basement, okay? Using the wooden stakes as a guide, the team will dig holes and trenches for the foundation, utilities, the septic system, if applicable. The next step is installing the footings. Footing drains will be constructed so that the water drains away from the house and protects the drains from damage. All right. You don't want water in a home. That's a no-no. That's a whole no-no. Like, it really can damage your home. Y'all know that already. Step number 9, pour the foundation. With the footings in place, your home will either have a slab foundation, a crawl space, or full basement, and that'll be poured or constructed. Now, the concrete will go through a curing process and to reach its maximum strength, it's going to take 28 to 60 days. So you're going to be looking at it like watching paint dry. You're like, ooh, I got to wait. Right? You wait for that concrete to curate. But depending on the weather conditions, the building can resume after 1 week. All right, so it just all depends. Then you got to waterproof it. Step number 10, install the drains, the sewers, and the taps. At this point, the foundation is poured. Now you're installing drains, sewers, taps. After that, you're going to get the inspection done on the foundation. Each major part has an inspector come out. So the public needs to know this, because they're not just going to let you slap a house together and it doesn't make sense, right? And it's a danger to you, right? They don't want any loss of life or anything like that. So the inspector is going to come out and make sure there's no leaks. They're going to make sure everything's up to up to code. Step 12, building the frame out. So you'll start to see your home take shape. It's going to take about 1 to 2 weeks. The crew is going to erect the lumber for the walls, the flooring, the ceiling, and the roof trusses. Now, the thing about it is that you want to be able to you'll get a quote on lumber, but that you might not be able to start the house for 6 months. So it's all an estimate, and you have to leave in your budget a margin for that fluctuation. All right. And 13, the sheathing is applied to exterior wall. Sheathing is large sheets of wood, oriented strand board or wafer board, or exterior gypsum that is nailed to the frame. If you don't know what those things are, you're going to have to research it, because when they ask you, okay, which one do you want? You're like, I don't know. Right. So the sheathing is next. The sheathing is covered with house wrap, a protective cover that prevents moisture from seeping into the underlying wood, preventing mold or wood rot. Step 14 is to install the windows and the exterior doors. Okay, then you're going to install the HVAC system, right, which is your air, your heat. All right. So 16, the rough plumbing. Okay. Rough plumbing is basically your running pipes to the bathroom, the kitchen, the laundry room, and they also install sewer lines, vents, and bathtubs. Okay. Now that can be done the same time that the windows are being installed. So some of these things can overlap to make it faster. Then you have to have the inspector come out and do the plumbing inspection. And that's when he looks for leaks in the drains, sewage, and vent pipes pass a pressure test. Step number 18, install electrical wires and panels. All right. Then the HVAC is hooked up, the fans, the lights, the electrical outlets. Y'all getting the picture? This is a lot. The circuit breaker all hooked up and ready to go. Next is get an HVAC and electrical inspection. After that, you're going to put the roof on the home. That's step number 20. Okay. So sheathing for the roof is generally done when the exterior sheathing is attached to the walls. Okay. So that's where you're going to put the roof on the home. I used to hate them. Don't sing that song. You want to get on my nerves, sing this. We don't need no water. All right, number 21. Installation is installed. Now, it's going to be installed to the interior walls. We're going to run through the rest. Now you're going to hang the drywall, okay? That the drywall is going to be hung and the ceilings, okay? Next, step number 23, paint the walls, okay? Now we're getting closer to the end. If you're going with a spec or a tract home, you may not have many choices in paint color, but if it's a custom home, you could choose your own colors, okay? Or even have wallpaper put on the walls. Step number 24, exterior finishes are installed, okay? Meaning like the siding, all of these things can be put on there. You can put wood, fiber cement, stucco, even though stucco can be a pain. Brick, metal, stone, that's all the outside. So now the flooring, now step number 25, flooring is laid all throughout the house, right? Once the paint has dried, for my flippers, okay, if you never did a flip before, you're going to paint and then you're going to do the floors because there's nothing worse than getting paint on brand new floors. All right, if you guys are liking the information, type yes in the comments, okay? It's good to know. It's good to know how a home is built. And when you go through all of that, you'll be like, girl, just give me a house that's ready. I ain't got time. I got time. But if you already have a house, think about it. If you already have your house, you don't mind waiting for your home to be built because you're already comfortable. This is just an upgrade. But if you have no house, there's no way. There's no way y'all waiting. What? Y'all can't even wait the 30 days to close. Anyway, back to it. Almost done. Flooring is laid throughout the house. Okay. Step 26, the window sills and the trims are completed, meaning all the trim is completed. You can pick it. It can look really, the crown molding and all of that stuff is put up, being all fancy pants. And step 27, back cabinets and vanities are installed. Okay. Now that you got your windowsill, your crown molding, now you're gonna put your cabinets and your vanities in. You can get high-end touches. Step 28, light fixtures, outlets, switches are installed, right? Because now you can see where they're all gonna sit, where it makes sense. Next is the countertops and appliances are installed in the kitchen, okay? In the kitchen. I think these are the options for countertops are quartz, granite, marble, laminate, solid surfacing, recycled glass, and butcher block. Butcher block, okay? So these are all, hey Ty, how are you? Yes, these are all options for the countertops. We're talking about the home building process. 30 bathroom fixtures are installed. And this is for a person that wants to flip homes too. Like you got to know the process. If you're going into something, you got to know it inside and out. All right, so all my flippers out there, I know there's a lot of real estate investors. If you want to be an investor, say me. All right. Bathroom, that's my trademark. I'm like, where did I get this from? It says, hey, lady. Comment. Okay. Is anybody interested in how a home is built? I had to sit through this and watch it. Okay. He says, been busy. I see you educating as usual. Love it. Yes, I'm back Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Different topic each day. But that's how I work. That's how I gel. I got to have balance. I've got to have balance. But all is good. All is well. Thank you so much for checking on me. And I'm glad you're doing good as well, Ty. Bathroom fixtures are installed. Mirrors are hung. Child, the mirrors are last. The landscaping and the hardscaping is completed. And then you have a final home inspection. You have a final walkthrough. and that's when the buyers walk through and like, oh, you forgot this right there. You want to make sure all your lines are clean when you paint it. You want to have high quality work. I wouldn't say they will overlook stuff because they're like they'll start nitpicking. Buyers, I love you, but y'all nitpickers. this handle is not done. So you have to make sure everything's perfect on that end. And the final walkthrough, because you as the customer, you don't want something that you have to like, okay, how do I even fix this? The people that can fix it, I didn't ask them. So that's what the final walkthrough is for. So take a note of whatever else you need to make sure, like if you have a big dent in your appliance or a deep scratch on the floor or damaged walls, like that's the time to find out. And then there's closing. You are all done. You got the keys at closing. People ask that question, will I be able to move in right after closing? Absolutely. 8 brokers. Are brokers anywhere involved with the construction? They are selling the house. That's it. They're basically putting people in contact with each other, and they are. I know what you meant. The brokers, the real estate agents, are making sure, because builders are not really used to working with clients, and you just can't talk to a client any way you want, right? It takes some finesse. It takes a little patience. You know what I'm saying? It takes some smoothing out, right? Sometimes I can see how people lose the deal because they cannot handle that person's ego, this agent has an ego, and that person has an ego. Everybody got to get along. But the beautiful part is everybody has the same goal. So somebody got to calm down and get to the solution and not be upset when things go wrong, because whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Okay, that's okay. But if you have somebody communicating and allowing them to see the expectations, like let's just say they say, oh, there's a delay for 2 weeks, but then your agent comes in and say, well, that happens a lot. You're going to feel much better versus like, oh my gosh, why my house had to be delayed 2 weeks? Am I even going to close? And that's how the thought process goes when the person has everything, it feels like they have everything on the line. And by the way, if you're going to have everything on the line, don't let that new person that don't know what they're doing, they're like, do your deal. Right? If that's your biggest financial transaction, make sure you got somebody that knows what they're doing. All right. And that can handle the situation. So that is pretty much it. That's how you build a home from start to finish. Like I said before, you would have 20% down. So this is not something where you're getting a grant to build a house. No, this is when you get that money, that moolah, that cash. If let's say the house was $300,000, that means you would need $60K to get started. Okay. So if the house is $1 million, then we kept saying 20%. So if the house is $1 million, you need $200,000. Just this is a good ballpark number plus the financing. So that way, when you're paying out all of these fees, right? When you're paying out all these fees, you don't want to. And actually, a pro tip is if you have accounts for your appliances, you have credit, right? Lines of credit available to you. That's going to free up your cash to do all the things that you need to do. Because you saw what I said about the fees and the people that you have to pay. And so it's a process. And if you have the money, you can make it happen. But if you're heavily dependent on somebody giving you a loan, or it's just not going to happen, you don't have a lot of cash, then I would suggest you buy a home that is ready to move into. But you guys can contact us. We sell in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Maryland. Okay, so text 267-259-4639. Text the word house, right? Text the word house, and then I'll know that you need your questions answered. We'll set up a consultation for you. Stop moving. Set up a consultation for you, and we can help you get your goal. Whatever you want to do, we can make it happen. It's just going to take time, money, and understanding. Thank you so much, guys. If you have any other questions, let me know. Post it below. This is Ruth in Real Estate. Ruth in Real Estate. Ruth in Real Estate. Market update. Yeah. So, thank you guys for watching the show today. And I will see you guys for real estate next week. and for money tomorrow. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.